Five Nights at Freddy's is an amazing horror game. It does a number of things very right. It builds an atmosphere of intense dread, puts weird pieces of human anatomy on its monsters, showing off spectacular examples of the uncanny, and it shows a great understanding of the tension and relief cycle. But the strength that I want to focus on is how well it uses the disempowerment fantasy and resource denial in order to instill true horror in the video game. In most video games, something called an empowerment fantasy happens. A real rough definition of this is that when someone plays a video game, and to a lesser extent watches a movie or reads a book with a strong or powerful protagonist, they feel stronger and more confident in real life. In short, they feel empowered by the fantasy they're acting out. While this is a good idea in most video games, it's kind of the opposite of what you want to happen in a horror game. In horror, video games, movies, or books, you need the audience to feel frightened, and that just doesn't work if they feel totally badass. In horror, you need the threat to feel more powerful than the hero. Pretty much like the hero can't defeat it in any way, shape, or form. You should not only not feel like you're getting stronger, you should actually feel like you're getting weaker as time progresses. The victory conditions, in essence, aren't in slaying the monster, saving the day, making off with the princess. They're pretty much just escape and or survival. An example of where this was a big problem was Dead Space. Now, as just a basic video game, I actually kind of liked Dead Space. It had nice boss fights, interesting weak points on the enemies, specifically the little minions, had a cool weapon set. I actually even liked the sort of hub upgrade system it had going on for it. It was good, but not like a great video game, but it was still a good video game. However, as a horror game, it was pretty shit. The main character just gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. He gets new weapons, he gets to upgrade those weapons, he upgrades his armored suit, he finds cash and ammo wherever he wants, and it ends with him slaying a giant alien hive queen thing at the end of the game. That really shouldn't be happening in a horror game. When we go back to Five Nights at Freddy's, we see a very different dynamic between the protagonist and the threats the protagonist faces. Your character isn't some noble, gallant knight. He isn't some powerful, magical sorcerer. He's not even a grizzled, badass space marine. He's a night guard at a fucking knockoff Chuck E. Cheese, making less than minimum wage an hour. Though you can technically win the game and get 3 stars, you don't actually beat or defeat the animatronics in any tangible way. You survive against them till the end of the week, where then you get to escape by being fired from your job and receiving a note that you smell, thus also assailing your dignity. Your character only has 2 tools, closing doors and checking cameras. You get them from the get-go, and you get no new ones as the nights continue. This prevents any concept of empowerment. Your character is not going to get any stronger than he is second 1, hour 1, from day 1. This is where the second part, the resource denial, kicks in. Your options are dependent on the battery power. But the problem is, whenever you try to exercise these options, it drains the power. And there's no new way to get power. There's no dispensers, nor batteries, nor ways to buy upgrades. You're only going to be losing power as the night continues. This is compounded by the fact that every night the animatronics get more active and aggressive. Thus meaning, they pose more of a threat. Thus meaning, you need more power to keep them the fuck out. This starts a dark cycle, where pretty much you're using power to keep the animatronics out, which drains the power, thus limiting your ability to keep the animatronics out. It's a damn near flawless example of the idea that you're against something more powerful, and that you're growing weaker and weaker as you fight it. And that's why it just really nails horror.
Murder the human. Those were manly yells. It's what you do when you're a warrior. Fuck. I got one night done in one episode. Maybe I'm gonna call this quits.